Just about to have a look at the feature race on Sunday. That is the Lion Rock Trophy. It's a Group 3 handicap. Before we do, though, make sure you head to the website of the Multimedia Showcase. Click on HK Direct, where Ed Sadler this week is joined by Dave Morgan to look at this race, plus Western Express, as he takes on some of the best in Japan in the Yasuda Kinnan as well. So that's Hong Kong Direct on the Multimedia Showcase on the website. So as we get into the starter list for Sunday's feature race, it is a handicap, as I mentioned before, over the mile, with the return of Werther. We haven't seen him since that run behind Time Warp in the Gold Cup. Beauty Only, who was fourth in the Champions Mile last time out. Romantic Touch, of course, been busy on trips to Macau of late. We've got Prawn Barber, one of the Happy Valley, a feature race over the 1800 metres last time out. The Golden Age will roll forward from barrier 6 under Joe Moreira. Classic Emperor back on the turf. He's a two-time course and distance winner, though. And Sichuan Da, who goes back up into group company. He was behind What Else But You last time out. Now, we made our way to the touchscreen to have a look at this one, Brett, the speed map. And probably no great surprise here. Well, Classic Emperor is a surprise back on the turf, but the Golden Age, I should imagine he would want to roll forward, wouldn't he?
Yep, I would have thought so. Barrier number 6 for Joe Moreira. We know that's pretty much his style. Packing Dragon's obviously potentially a chance of also kicking through, but he can take a little bit of time to build. I'm not convinced Classic Emperor will end up there, to be honest. It's a possibility. Prawn Barber, good to see young Jack Wong getting another opportunity in Group 3 level, or at Group 3 level. He, of course, had one last week on Fabulous One. Romantic Touch, let's not forget when he went to Macau, he led all the way as well, so potentially maybe looking to roll over with the Golden Age. Classic Emperor there, it's a possibility, but nowhere clear-cut for me unfolding like that.
All right, the big guns, Werther and Beauty Only, back towards the tail of the field there, Paul.
Yeah, that looks that way, doesn't it? Werther, obviously, 1,600 metres is a bit short for him, and here he is with Douglas White aboard. He's going nicely. I don't think he's 100% tuned up, to be honest, for this particular race. 1,600 does look a little bit short of his best. He's got bigger assignment coming up later in the season. Here's Prawn Barber and Dinozo. We can see both these two horses. They're both racing, and they're both in... Well, Prawn Barber in particular has had a great season this season. Dinozo's just doing what he has to do at the back there without challenging. And here's the Golden Age Romantic Touch. So it's quite good, all these horses working together. We get to see a lot of them, and you can see here Romantic Touch was just really going on with it. The Golden Age wasn't pushed to chase him, but it was a good piece from Romantic.
He worked all over him, I would have thought.
All right, there you go. 2 in the race, 2 of the 3 there for Tony Cruz. Let's start off, though, with John Moore's Single Bullet, and that is the returning champ in Werther.
John, obviously disappointing that Werther's missed out on the last few months. With that in mind, you must be excited to see him racing on the weekend.
Definitely. Great to have him back. It was a real shame when he did bleed that day when he was going to run past Zach's horse, but he's come back really, really well. There's been no sign of any blood. Soundness-wise, very sound. What he's done on the track, and except, you know, his last trial was very, very good. You could see him close from the rear and got home really strong, and Douglas was full of praise for that, for the second trial. So we're going in, okay, we're fighting the handicap system, but he's a fresh horse. And I think he'll be, as far as I'm concerned, he'll be the horse to beat.
Blinkers come off, you put the hood on. Why is that, John?
Well, just think about it. Blinkers tend to get him on, as Aussies say, get him on the chewy a bit. And he just over races, especially if there's no speed in the race. And that could, you know, upset the lungs when you're starting to restrict the oxygen moving down through the windpipes into the lungs. And for that reason, I decided to race him with the hood on, for the simple reason he'll go just a little bit kinder in his races, and you know, my opinion is it won't he won't incur any bleeding problems.
Is Japan still the aim?
Definitely. If he run a big race, not necessarily win, but if he can run a real big race. He's booked on the 12th to fly up to Osaka. The team's all ready to is mobilised, and wow, you've got a fresh horse going up there. I'm sure he's going to run a very big race up there also with Hugh Bowman aboard.
That's the key, isn't he? He's a fresh horse, proven Group 1 horse as well. He's not a surprise if he wins at that sort of pricing in his record, but I think you can give him a shake here.
Oh, definitely. I've got him in the numbers. I've always been a fan, as you know, of this horse. But I just think 1,600 metres is a little bit short. There's a couple of 1,600 metre specialists in this race. I still think he'll run a good race, and I think they'll be happy, and they'll still go on to Japan with him.
Hoping that'll be the case, Andrew. Yeah, I've got him in on a minor line. I wouldn't be surprised to see him win, but he's got to carry all the weight. There's a lot of horses in this carrying very low weights and still looking progressive, but he has the score on the board.
All right, well, let's have a look at some of the competition. Prawn Barber, this was a big win at Happy Valley the other week. Feature race, but this is a completely different ballgame.
It is. To some extent, 1,800 at the Valley, I suppose, as opposed to 1,600 metres at Sha Tin is a different ballgame. But Prawn Barber did win over 2,200. He's been versatile throughout his career. I thought he had a gutbuster too a couple of runs ago, but he's still been fronting up, and he's going to get a lovely run in the race, and he's going to go around with a lightweight, only 113 pound on his back, 20 pound less than what he carried when he last was victorious. So he's fit. He'll run a big race for me. I don't know whether he can win it, but he will run well again, I would have thought.
Yeah, I expect him to run nicely. It's a good race, this one, but he hasn't won over 1,600, so that just worries me. Win line anyway for him anyway.
All right, the Golden Age, big run in the Derby when trying to make all, was collared late. This was a big run as well. This was Macau Day, Romantic Touch further back, as is Joyful Trinity as well. Joe Moreira takes over.
Group 3 winner in the Northern Hemisphere in Europe. I think it was France before he came. Obviously, he's been running around against our best 4-year-olds. He was competitive here in the Hong Kong Macau Trophy at 1,400. This is pretty solid form, as is the form from the 4-year-old series. So with a lightweight finding the front here, he probably looks pretty hard to get past.
Yeah, I've got one to beat him. I think he'll run well. I just wonder, again, is 1,600 his ideal distance? I thought 1,800 might be for him.
All right, but he's possible one of the likely leaders. But again, I just, in terms of his overall form, what he's achieved so far, it'll be a good effort. Certainly a PB worry to win here.
You've been one of his biggest fans,
I have,
Andrew.
yeah, but let's say he's taken on some big boys here.
That's a big no.
The one we look at here is Denozo. This is another high-cast trial. He's got Western Express on his inside and the green jacket of Pakistan Star as well.
Well, let's not forget earlier on in the season, Denozo obviously was able to bolt up in a race very similar to this. He led all the way in that too. We looked at the speed map earlier, and potentially you think it can unfold with the Golden Age finding the front, but there are other variables in it depending on what connections and trainers and jockeys discussed prior to the race, and wouldn't surprise me if Denozo did roll forward and put some pressure on early.
I know I'm sounding like a broken record here, but again, I don't think 1,600 metres is his main distance as well. He's another one that's an 1,800 metre horse. So.
All right, OK, well, the Golden Age is our favourite. If they're not 1,600 metres horses, who is?
Beauty Only. He's and as I've got him on top, I think Beauty Only is the main mile specialist in this race. He's got to carry the weight, but he deserves the weight. He's in reasonable form at the moment. Did win last start nicely, 2 starts ago nicely, and followed up with a good 4th behind Beauty Generation. So I think he's the only true miler in the race. So I've got to put him on top. The Golden Age will run a good race, but again, 1,800 I think is ideal for him. Werther we know needs further, and so does Denozo. But I tossed up between Denozo and also putting in the other one, Prawn Barber. I went with Denozo in the end. 2, 8, 1 and 3 exotics.
It is a handicap, as Paul suggested. That makes it very difficult. Obviously, the best horse in the race, pound for pound, is probably Werther or Beauty Only. And you look at the handicaps, they've got to carry all the weight, and everything else has basically got 121 or less. I'm just going to go with the Golden Age. I think potentially he can lead the race, and Prawn Barber sits close to him. It might develop into a sit sprint. I've got Werther in for 3rd, going in fresh, all the class. Joyful Trinity's going to go in for 4th. He's got a very light weight and a good barrier. He's showed signs this season, but I think he is a genuine miler, as you point out as well, Paul. Let's not forget he's been placed at the highest level on International Day in the mile. So 8, 6, 1, 5, but I've left out Beauty Only. I think he'll need more pace. He could win it if he gets that. It's not an easy one to put together.
All right, I think class wins this. Werther fresh up, and I think he'll just be a little bit too good, even with the weights on his back. That was the feature race, the Lion Rock Trophy. Another short break. We come back over the minimum trip. Interesting sprint. That's up next.